Hello everyone. So what I have here is a used guitar that I bought from Facebook Marketplace. My goal for this video is I'm going to try to kind of restore this guitar a little bit and maybe it would become one of my personal guitars, or if it doesn't really fit me in terms of the fingerboard and the length of the scale, I might just sell it. But I literally just bought it today. I drove about like an hour to meet the seller. This is a Alvarez RF20SC. Okay, you can see right there. So I paid about $75 for it. My goal is to restore this guitar because personally I have a Taylor Mini GS that I bought and absolutely love when I'm learning my guitar. I'm an absolute beginner. This is less than 1 month since I started learning guitar. And obviously, as you can see, I'm already trying to collect guitars because I just think it's such an interesting instrument. This one, the reason I bought it, one, is affordable. Second, I'm interested in restoration projects. If you check my YouTube video, I have a lot of camera restoration projects. I have bike restoration projects. I just like old stuff and fixing them up. Okay, so this one seems to be a good project because physically, it seems fine. There are no visible damages besides a few like scratches here and there. And I think there's a little bump over here. The strings totally out of tune and they seems pretty old and rusted. I might just use this string for now, but eventually the string will be replaced. And look at the ugly job that they've done at the top. The string's just running around like crazy. So obviously this guitar at its late stage hasn't been took care of, okay? However, let's see what we can do for it. It's still got plenty of nice glossy coating on here, so what I'm gonna do is probably a nice polish after I finish with the restoration, so hopefully the guitar would look a little bit better at least. But I also do hope this string is still reusable. I can try to tune it and play it a little bit and then test the function of the electronics. It seems to be working. I think there's battery, and the tuner actually works, which is pretty amazing. So yeah, in terms of functionality, I think it's gonna work. The guitar features a spruce top, solid spruce top, layered back and side mahogany, layered or laminate back and sides. And the spruce top, as you can see, usually it's a bright white color. This one, the reason it's a little darker, I believe, is because this guitar probably has been left in a very humid, unair-conditioned place for a while. And the reason I say that is because if you look inside, there are actually mold growing right there. You guys see? That's mold. So I told the seller, I was like, look, because she's asking for like $140, $150. I'm like, this is full of mold and I just want to buy a guitar and restore as a hobby. And she let me have it for less than $100, which I think is going to be interesting. So I'm going to get started restoring the guitar. But before I do that, I just want to show you guys what it looks like in terms of, you know, the look presently. There are scratches, of course, on the pickguard, scratches everywhere. And the board actually looks pretty ugly over here, the fingerboard. Rusty and nasty looking. So let's take a look at the back. So the back actually seems mostly fine. The coating is nice and thick. Okay. There are no separation of the neck. There are no damages, no major damages. So yeah, and also, oh, is that a crack? Hopefully it's not a crack. Huh. That looks like a crack, but I'm not sure. It could be a crack. Oh, that sucks. Hopefully it still plays, okay? So again, over here you see a little bit of the rust on the chrome tuners. And so yeah, this guitar definitely needs some love. So in the next section of the video, I may just come back and show you guys what it looks like once I try my best to restore this guitar, okay? In terms of value, of course, it's the lower end guitar, perfect for beginners. So yes, I do hope I can keep it, but if it doesn't fit me in terms of the scale, I'm gonna sell it, as I said. So let's get started. So check it out. I just did a quick waxing of the guitar. It's already looking very beautiful, and I'm actually quite impressed by the beauty of this budget guitar. Things that I cannot fix are rusted chrome tuners, but I don't think it has affected the playability besides a worn string. And I actually kind of tune it. It just goes out of tune like super quick, string super rusted, so it doesn't really sound good. So what I'm gonna do next is actually remove the strings, and by doing that I can condition the fingerboard very nicely and clean out everything, and probably also try to retighten those nuts if it got loosened during previous use. What I'm also gonna do is in there are some little like fungus looking thing. I'm gonna clean those up so it looks nice at least. But it actually does play pretty well. The action is actually, I feel the action on this one is actually works better than my Taylor Mini GS, to be honest. And I was not so bothered by the 25.5 inch of the scale length. I think it actually works fine. What surprised me most is I did not, before I thought, okay, maybe a non-cutout works just fine, but with the cutout, all those strings, all those lower or high frets are very, very easy to reach, and that's something that I was really surprised. So yeah, I might keep this guitar for a little longer and just have some fun. Also, you can see over there is my Flow 8 from Behringer. It's a little mixer. What's cool about this guitar is I had a little wire and I literally just hooked up my cable to the guitar, and it immediately transmitted the electronic sound to my mixer. And so for people who like to work on their recordings on the computer, this is a huge plus. Okay, so the Taylor Mini GS, I have to hook up a XLR microphone to do recording, and there might be some additional noise induced, but with this one, the integrated electronics actually works pretty good. It doesn't sound like a super natural acoustic guitar, but it does sound well. Okay, that's what I found out so far. So next, I'm actually gonna remove the strings, clean the board, and then go back and come back in the next section, give you guys another update after I replace some of the hardwares, and let you guys know how it plays and how it feels. Okay, so see you again in the next section. Okay guys, so I have pretty much finished with restoring the guitar, and I must say I am really digging the restored look of the Alvarez RF20SC, and it's just a absolutely gorgeous guitar to look at. And I also try to play or just try to practice and learn guitar on it. keep in mind I'm a super beginner, less than 1 month learning guitar. And trying this guitar out also made me realize what most important at the beginning when you're learning guitar is not how good the guitar sounds, is how well the fretboard and the action actually fits for you. Now this guitar, after I started playing, I found it had the perfect action. It had a much better action than my Taylor GS Mini, even though that guitar is probably 3-4 times more expensive than this brand new. The action on this guitar is perfect, okay? So I measured at the 12th fret and it's 2.5 millimeters. And it's just so easy to play on. And despite the fact it's a little bit wider and a little bit longer in terms of the scale length compared to the GS Mini, I was still able to get all the chords sounding right. And it's actually not that hard, okay? It's with a good action, it's very easy. It's easier than making the chords sound right on this guitar compared to the GS Mini that I had, which I confirmed with a luthier that the GS Mini always comes with a very, very high action. And that was probably why I was not liking that fretboard on the GS Mini that much, because the action was so high. So I have to actually take the GS Mini over to the luthier to get it adjusted. So he'll probably get the nut a little bit shorter and probably play around with the bridge a little bit on the GS Mini, but that's a different story, okay? On this guitar, I'm just gonna conclude over here, okay? And at the end, I still decided to sell the guitar because I have just acquired a beautiful vintage Alvarez Yari DY70, and it's a very rare guitar that they made in the 90s with solid construction, and it was absolutely gorgeous. So with that guitar, I'm selling this one. But it's nice to actually have fun with restoring the project or restoring the guitar. I'll just let you guys take a look with a better light. And it actually works really, really well, okay? So look at this guitar now with a proper light. It's actually very easy to get it polished, nice and bright. I really dig the glossy finish because it's a finish that's very easy to restore. If it gets dinged or if it gets scratched, just give it a good polish. You can use car polish, it works perfectly fine on the guitar. This fretboard, it's in very good condition, okay? And the action is fantastic. So that's why what made this guitar very enjoyable. It's not the sound. I think the sound is actually very average on this guitar. And it's a, I think they call the folk size. So it's actually quite small. And again, slightly bigger than a GS Mini, but again, still much smaller than a Grand Auditorium, I believe, and a Dreadnought. So in terms of sound, it doesn't project as well compared to GS Mini, and it doesn't sound bold compared to the GS Mini. However, the advantage is you can hook this up to an amp, and this guitar actually sounds pretty good on the amp. And I had a sample recording footage just before I started this final conclusion. You can hear it. It actually sounds very, very nice. And you have the option to adjust the bass and the treble and also the volume of the output. So plenty of options. And again, did I mention the built-in tuner makes it really, really just an enjoyable guitar to play, okay? And again, if you're an electric guitar player, you want to go into acoustic, this is the best option because you can hook this up to an amp and it's still gonna sound great. And if you don't want to use amp, just unplug. And again, it's a perfect folk size guitar for anybody to enjoy on. And again, the action is just so enjoyable. I have no complaint about the playability of this guitar at all. Look at the back before we conclude. It's just beautiful, okay? Did I say? Oh, yes. So this is a laminate mahogany back and side. Again, if you are really wanting to learn playing guitar, the sound doesn't really matter at the very beginning. This is the most important part. The fretboard, the frets, the size of, you know, the length, the width, and the size. Those are way more important than the sound. Okay, so I'm gonna just actually conclude the video right here with this restoration project. I think I've done a pretty good job, and again, I put actually a medium string on here, so it sounds actually more bold than the original light string that was on here that was really rusted. So I think it's a good choice, and again, the action is still very easy to press, enjoyable to use. With a new string, I think when I sell it, the new owner is really gonna enjoy this guitar. Okay, if you guys have any questions about this guitar in particular, feel free to ask me in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer. And again, I'm a beginner, so bear with me. I might have said something wrong. Also, let me know in the comments down below. But I just enjoy restoring guitars and give them a second life. And I think I did it on this one. And so thanks again, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.